back in one more time.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it.
On the Cincinnati podcast.
Hello, world. Cincinnati.
You guys are the Yoshi creators, bro.
It's a new beginning. You know what that means, right?
But I know this, the whole NFL is scared of the Bengals.
All right, appreciate y'all once again. Welcome to the Cincinnati podcast. We don't know. I don't know what I'm doing tonight, bro. I'm over here like the Bengals defense. I'm just making mistakes out here. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Definitely, if you're watching from the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We truly appreciate that. Leave some comments. Zem, how you doing tonight, bro?
I'm doing really good, man. I want to get right into it, bro. Joey B is back. Joey B is gone full. Anybody that's watching this show right now, you might have a mixed review on how you feel about the season. I'm gonna tell you, I'm a little on the fence. I'm really interested to know your take because we had this conversation weeks ago about if Joey B comes back, and now I feel a little different now that Nine is there. I think I was coping, so I was just out of sight, out of mind, just being like, bro, like. Flacco got this, bro. Now that Joey B he went a whole week last week practicing. Now is here this week. Lil Birdie told me, and I was telling Bashua this on the phone. This happened like a couple of weeks ago. And it wasn't a crazy thing. It was all over Twitter when I would see it. So it's not like I'm breaking news. But that had always been like the concept is like he would come back the end of November. It's a bunch of stuff. If you go search it and seek it out, you'll see what I'm saying. I remember Ace saying, hey, bro, I think he's coming back for that Thanksgiving game. And he said that a long time ago. So it's not like it's crazy. I think I was just tricking my mind to be like, we got to win without Joey B. But now that he's back, how do you feel about him going full today in 11 on 11s after Zach Taylor says, he can't unless he goes full in 11 on 11. Then Joey B's crazy butt goes out there and goes full on 11-11s.
Yeah, I think part of it is Joe Flacco didn't look that good in the last game. I think if Joe Flacco would have went out there, threw for 300 and something, 2-3 touchdowns, I think we're having more of a conversation of do we leave Joe Flacco in there or do we go with Joe Burrow? I think now, as it stands right now, coming off of what just happened, they might need Joe Burrow this week. Like, if he could go full this week, I don't see why you wouldn't put him out there. Like,
I got to tell you why, though. Short turnaround. 4 days later, you're playing the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, if he's back, don't you think he needs a warm-up game? Like, if he's gonna come and do that,
warming up against the 9-2 Patriots?
Yeah, why not? I mean, at this point, from what I saw, like you've got an injured Joe Flacco now. It's a little different because you got an injured Joe Flacco as well with the shoulder. The offensive line is playing better. If Joe Burrow can go, if the doctors are clearing him, they're saying that there's no risk at him playing. Like, there's no risk with him playing early, then I would throw him out there. I mean, at this point, bro, if they go 3-8, like, I'm willing to roll the dice on Joe Burrow. I'm willing to let Joe Burrow go out there and try to do what he needs to do. If he's practicing full, bro, it's not limited. He's playing 11 on 11. I don't see why not. Like, when I watched him on the sideline, those weeks, but that week before the bye, I was like, this dude looks like he can play right now. Like, I don't know what it was, but it was like, it just looked like I'm watching Joey B at training camp. He didn't have the boot on. He didn't have anything on. If he's able to go out there and play, why not, man? I mean, at this point, why not? I don't think you have anything to lose. Obviously, you risk the re-injury, but if it's not that, if the chances of that isn't high because he's gotten the surgery, I don't see why not, man. Like, this is the season. So would you want to go with Joe Flacco or would you want to go with Joe Burrow? I'm going to lean with 9. I would see what time it is with him. But again, that's contingent on what the doctor says. If the re-injury risk is too high with him coming back too early, then I would say, nah, Joe, you need to chill out. But if the doctor is like, yeah, he can go this week or next week, the one thing that sticks in my mind, though, that I remembered that I think it was Jamar Chase said, Jamar Chase says, whenever you think you can go, just wait another week. So if it is a situation like that, maybe you do just wait until the Ravens game. But if they 3-8, bro, I'm at that point, and this is where I disagree probably, and I'm probably in the minority. There's no point in him playing next week. Like if that's the case, if they're 3-8, and you're asking Joe Burrow to come off of an injury and win 6 games in a row, bro, I just don't know. I just don't know if it's worth doing that at that point, just because how realistic is it for him to come off of this injury and win 6 games in a row? I just don't know. So the margin for error is very small because the Bengals have given him a 3-7 team. But enough of me talking about the situation. What do you think about the situation? And what would you do?
I am a little conflicted, but I will stand on this. One thing that I don't preach, and one of my biggest pet peeves in life is quitting, right? And we talk about this with the NBA all the time, and that's what do you call it? What do you call it when they're just trying to preserve themselves and then
load management.
So load management, right? So
yeah.
So I'm not with that load management stuff when it comes to sports, and I'm not with quitting. And I was somewhat against when he came back with that calf injury, but it was because he was still hurt, and he was still injured, and it's a really gray area in between all of that. The one thing that I think will be contradictory to everything else that I think I've said is, for instance, when you think about Lamar Jackson a couple of weeks ago, I thought they was getting their ass whooped by the Chiefs. I said a couple of weeks ago, it's been like 5 weeks now or 6 weeks or something. It was getting their ass whooped by the Chiefs. I thought Bro could still play, right? But then the argument is like, well, I don't think that, like it was worth, going any further. Maybe that's the part where I'm old school with it, where I'm just like, if you suit it up and you might be a little bit hobbled or whatever, like you play. Mahomes got his whole ankle crushed in that Jazz game, and it came out the next week. Imagine if he went with the like, well, what about my ankle? Like it could make it, you know what I mean? He came out there, he shot that joint up, and he played, and the rest is history. If something were to go bad, to me, I would chalk it up as that's just football. I know how social media works. They would kill the Bengals. They would be like, you idiots. Why did you play him? In hindsight, I'm not a hindsight guy. If Joey B is cleared by the daggone doctors, and the coaches are clearing him, and they've seen enough. Even if he wasn't the greatest version of himself, I'm just with the whole play on the same way. I'm not saying that you should tank unless it's for a quarterback to me, right? Because you're now telling everybody else it's not just about Joey B. You're now telling all the 53 other players on the team it's okay to have load management a little bit because, we're not going to – our record is 3-8. So technically you don't really have to play. There's nothing really to – you know what I'm saying? I'm a team guy in that aspect. The quarterback is the most important player on the field. But all these other players are all coached by the same coaches, same team, and the same principles. So if you're telling one person it's okay to not play after they've gone full and everything like that, I know that that's a crazy take for a lot of people because of what's at stake. But it's not like he's not cleared. If he weren't cleared, that's a different conversation. But once they've cleared him and people say that it's okay for him to play, you're setting a bad example that just because the going's gotten tough and it doesn't seem like you have anything to play for, I'm going to tell you right now, you're playing for bragging rights against the Cleveland Browns every year. You're playing for a culture. You're playing for a winning attitude. You're playing to show people that you can fight through adversity. You're playing for everything that we're taught our whole entire lives, that you keep on going. The logistics and all the formalities of football suggest that, yeah, contract, money's at play, families at play. All those things are important too. But I start with the team. I start with your faith. What do you believe in? I can't go out there thinking that, oh man, I could further this thing. If you're thinking like that anyway, you don't need to be involved with in professional sports. Like, to me, that's a recipe to get you hurt. That's a recipe for you to fail. That doesn't work in professional sports. Is the idea or the concept that you might get hurt when you're not hurt. Like, if that was the case and we lived our lives like that, nobody would get in the car tomorrow, because we'd be like, bro, I just saw a car accident. I could get in a car accident. That's just not the way that it works for me. And that's just part of like how I believe. I feel like he's already paid. I feel like he's under contract. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? I feel the same way about Trey Hendrickson. I don't know what's going on with Trey Hendrickson. Bro need to come on out there if he's cleared, which he is, and he's just hobbled. I think the last two games, even 75% of him, after we gave them the pay raise and stuff like that, I think he should play. I really do. I think that if he said, like after the third play and it didn't work out, I'd be like, that, bro, at least you went out there and gave it everything. That's how we're raised. And I just think this load management stuff, I'm just not with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. I'm actually looking to see if there's any other aspect that we could talk about with this Joe Burrow stuff. But one thing that I saw you tweet about that I wanted to get your take on too was Dejon Anthony coming back and Mike Gesicki coming back. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's big this week, pause, because I think Gesicki with Noah Fant, to me, remember last year when T was out, you had Gesicki line out wide as a wide receiver. You also can line him up in the slot. You can move him around. You can also line him up in line. It's not as big of a threat, but you can also run 12 personnel with him in a week that you don't have Jamar Chase. Why is that important? If you have an injured Joe Flacco or a Burrow coming back, you're now going into a more dink and dunk, more simplistic offense. And I think that that's a good idea. I think that the run game married with that, I think is a recipe to have an efficient game and keep your defense off the field. The problem is when you don't have big playability of a Jamar Chase to bail you out of third and longs and stuff, it could get tricky like that. Because now that's a recipe to go 3 and out. I'm not an NFL coach, but I feel like that Gesicki one is I think that's pretty tough to have him out there with that. That's something I've been waiting all season to see. The Dejon Anthony one, I think we're so down bad as a team that we're showing Dejon Anthony at practice as though bro is Derwin James or something like that. They're like, Dejon Anthony's back. And I'm like, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that he should play, but think about how down bad we are. What is he, a 5th or 6th round pick? That's probably played 50 snaps in his whole career. Think about how exciting.
But it's a situation where it's been so bad at the safety position with Geno Stone that you gotta see somebody else possibly there. So I'm gonna read. I was doing some research just to hear what friend of the show David Chow had to say. He says full practice from the pocket and shotgun, given the Bengals 3-7 record and no margin for error to make the playoffs. Original Thanksgiving target may be moved up out of necessity/desperation. That is what he's saying. And then also on his website, he is saying, so that seemed very insightful for what he's thinking.
Has the spread, is anybody monitoring? I know we got some bettors in the house. Has the spread changed in the last couple hours since I think that was around 1 o'clock or something like that? Has anything changed with the spread from Vegas? I think that'll tell you as Joey B playing. If you see that move, if it moves just one, maybe I can see it moving a half as you get close to the game time. But if you see it move like 1 point, I think Burrow's playing just off that.
Burrow, who was previously thought to be targeting a return to action against the Ravens, participated fully in practice. His listed participation level is both noteworthy and encouraging, but it remains to be seen if he will be able to play this weekend against the Patriots. So I think it's a chance he could play, man. I think the urgency, we kind of saw the sense of urgency from him coming out the bye week, right? That's when he returned. He never said that he couldn't return before Thanksgiving either. Like, a lot of people got to realize that he said that they would kind of play it by ear, and they had 21 days to figure it out, whether that was returning before or not. I think he's back, bro. 11 on 11 work from the shotgun. Joe Flacco. Now, this is what'll really tell me, because Joe Flacco always takes Wednesday off. Tomorrow, if Burrow is taking first team reps, Burrow's playing, bro. If he's taking first team reps tomorrow with Flacco there at practice, he's playing. But it looks like we got a super chat here. If Flacco can't play, selfishly for T, who needs a TD reception on Sunday to tie Chris Carter's record of 10 straight home games with a touchdown reception. I'm gonna be honest with you. Burrow, I feel like Burrow has way better chemistry with T. So I don't know if he's saying like I think T has more of a chance of catching a touchdown from Joe Burrow than he really would Flacco. I know he just caught one last week, but there have been times, and I'm not complaining about Flacco, but there were times where T was only getting like 2 or 3 targets a game, and it was like, are we remembering T Higgins is there? I feel like Burrow spreads it out between those two even more. Now, that did change in the last couple of weeks, but there were some times where I think there was the one game where T had a touchdown, but he only had 3 targets in that game.
Last time T Higgins played the Patriots, I think was 2022. He had a monster game. It was about 130 yards, I think 2 touchdowns. Remember, they had the smaller corner on him, whatever. Jamar did, he did his thing too. I think Jamar had like 11 targets, 9 catches in that game too as well. But T Higgins, went off in that game too.
That's a good segue. So with that being said,
I didn't ask you about whatchamacallit though. What is your on a Dejon Anthony one?
I mean, Dejon Anthony can play. I mean, if Geno Stone
should he start over Geno Stone?
I don't think he should start, probably just because he just came back. But I think if Geno Stone struggles, I think you start moving him in. And I think if Geno Stone continues to struggle, probably by the Ravens game, maybe it's Dejon Anthony as your starter. So I think, you at least try to see what it looks like. You try to get him in, because I don't know if he's in game shape and all of that. But, I think slowly you probably transition to Dejon Anthony at the safety position. If Geno Stone's not willing to come up and make that tackle, and I know he gets at people on Twitter for this, but, bro, part of it is true. I watched some of the people talk about it on film where it's like, hey, this defense is set up with a situation where we are dependent on him to make that tackle. And if you can't count on him to make that tackle, then you're talking about a big play every time. So Dejon Anthony strikes me as somebody that may be able to make that play. So if that starts to happen, they start to move him in, it could be a situation where he overtakes him for the position.
The one thing I will say about all of these things, and I'm gonna make this as short as possible. But when you watch really good defenses play, they're never really asking these players to make all of these one-on-one plays. And that to me is the biggest issue with the Bengals, is that I watched this same Steelers team play the Chargers the other day on Thursday Night Football. All of them tackles were game tackles. So they're not really having conversations on, why did you miss this one-on-one tackle? Constantly, Al Golden is putting them in a position where you're in the right spot. You get to that one spot, but now you got one of the shiftiest 230-pound running backs in the NFL running right at you in a one-on-one situation, and there is no game tackling ever. And out of every team I've ever seen, that is the biggest problem with the Bengals defense. And along with Geno Stone is not a good tackler to begin with. And then the combination of taking these 2 linebackers as early as they did and then throwing them into the fire, and then the fire burning the hell out of them, is is enough to get you fired. Like them taking those guys is something that there's no way that they could go to a meeting and say anything about, like, the whole plan is pay the offense, we're going to draft defense heavy. And none of these guys are hitting. And then the guys that you just drafted are the worst performing guys graded in all of PFF. The 3 guys we have is the worst tackling, worst defensive performers in the NFL, and Barrett, Knight, and Shamar Stewart. Those 3 are the worst. We have a trifecta here. To walk into a meeting and be able to, if Tobin in the game come in there and say, yeah, I mean, and that there is nothing you can really say. And then the icing on the cake is all the other guys, all the Jihads, all the other linebackers, all the other, edge rushers, and the guy in the second round for the Cowboys, as a Raku, and all these guys, they're all outperforming him, all of them. It's enough to get all of them people fired. Like, this is the biggest miss that these guys have probably, and it sounds crazy to say that they're missed. It's a miss in week 11, week 12. But I think you're seeing that some of the guys that are really good in the NFL, like a Walter Nolan, like in his first game, whatever, he just looks really damn good immediately. And it's not to say that he's going to do that every single time, but this is a league that is moving very fast, and we're moving very fast into Patriots week.
Yeah, like Patriots week right now, I'm just going to go over some numbers. I know that we do get into advanced analytics every now and then on this show. So just to give you guys some numbers, not trying to, say that, shape any argument here, but Patriots offense, when it comes to points per game, they're 7th in the league, 9th in yards, 1st in passing. And then rushing yards, they're 20th in the league. On the flip side, the Bengals defense, 32 in points per game allowed, 32nd in yards allowed, 11th somehow in passing yards per game, and then rushing yards per game, they're allowing the 32nd ranked amount in that. EPA per play on offense, Patriots are 6th. They're 1st in EPA per pass. They're 28th in EPA per rush. Defensively, Bengals still bad in all of those. They are 32nd, and 31st. Then when you talk about sacks per game, the Patriots rank 14th. The Bengals defense is 16th. Interceptions, they are 9th. Bengals are 11th. Fumbles. So when it comes to the turnover EPA, the Bengals do have the edge. Bengals defense has the edge as being 8th. They're very efficient on 3rd and 4th down. Are the Patriots? They're 6th and 1st in the league. The Bengals are not efficient on 3rd down defensively, 31st in the league. Red zone efficiency, the Patriots offense is 17th. Bengals are 29th. Flipping those numbers. Now, Bengals offense versus Patriots defense. Unfortunately, the Patriots defense is really good in terms of points per game. They are 5th. Yards per game, they are 8th. They are the number 1 rush defense in the league. The Bengals, with all of the struggles, are still the 3rd best passing yards per game team in the league. Points per game, they are 18th. EPA per play on offense, Bengals are 21st. EPA per pass are 26th. EPA per rush, believe it or not, the Bengals are a top 5 team. Unfortunately, on defense, this Patriots defense is really good. The EPA per play on defense, they're 8th. EPA per pass, they're 14th. EPA per rush, they're 10th. When it comes to the Bengals offensive line, we've talked about how good they are. They are the 2nd best in the league when it comes to the least amount of negative plays in terms of sacks per game. They are 2nd in the league when it comes to that. They are 2nd in turnover EPA per game.
Wow.
They are going up against a defense that is the 6th best in terms of getting sacks per game. So that's a big thing for what they're doing from an offensive line standpoint. 3rd down efficiency, Bengals are good. They're 10th in the league on offense. 4th down efficiency, they're a top 5 team in that. However, on 4th down, the defense for the Patriots is the 2nd best in the league at stopping teams on 4th down. And then on 3rd down, they're the 11th team in terms of that. Red zone efficiency, though, the Patriots defense is bad. They are 31st in the league defensively on red zone efficiency. The Bengals offense is 14th from that standpoint. Now, the ELO forecast and all of that, these numbers are a little bit they're not accounting for Joe Burrow, right? So I think that they're going to have an adjustment for that. But Drake May is another guy that's playing really well right now. He's in MVP talks. Let's get into that Patriots offense versus the Bengals defense. How are you feeling about the Patriots offensively? Have you been watching Drake May this season? What are your concerns about Drake May facing a struggling Bengals defense? What are your thoughts on just that in its totality?
I mean, you just laid out some of the numbers. Like Patriots, I think the number one passing EPA per play offense, or is that what I heard? Or like,
yeah,
or is it yeah? Because it's not yards, right? Just number one EPA per play.
Yeah.
They're a very efficient offense. Drake May also has.
They are the number one passing yards offense.
Yards.
They are both number one in EPA per pass and in passing yards per game.
Right. Yeah, they're phenomenal. And I'm gonna tell you, like I told you before, I think that people are gonna look at I told you about that Browns glaze. My favorite running back in the draft was Trayvon Henderson, and it wasn't close. I respect Judkins. I think he's gonna be a fine running back. Trayvon Henderson he reminds me of running backs that you see on Super Bowl level teams that just can do it all. And I don't really have a comp that I could really say, but one person that has the same skill set to me is like Marshall Faulk. He's just as deadly receiving the football as he is running the football. And so to me, when you're pairing that up with Drake May, and then now you're talking about Diggs now looking really good, you know what I mean? So it's like you got that, and then you got all these other different weapons all around there that aren't household names, but they are a deadly offense, bro. And for a team like the Bengals, who are the dead last worst defense in the NFL, there's nothing much that you can really hang your hat on, except this, but Trey Hendrickson's not playing. But Drake May is the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL with 36 sacks. Cam Ward, I believe, has been sacked 41 times. But he does get sacked a lot. That is maybe encouraging for Myles Murphy coming off his best game as a pro. But I would love to see Trey Hendrickson do it. And the reason why, I watched Will Campbell get worked by Myles Garrett. I think it's been like 4 or 5 weeks ago. He was at his locker room all dejected, saying like, yeah, I fought with him and stuff. I'm like, bro, you just got cooked. Trey Hendrickson usually does really good against tall pass protectors or big as him, and usually struggles against guys shorter in stature like Makari and guys like that. And I thought that Trey could have feasted in this matchup, so I hate that he's not there. If he were there, I would say that I like the Bengals to maybe pull off a crazy upset. Without him there, I just do not believe that they have enough to stop him. The Patriots literally could just dink and dunk, race to different angles. Our linebackers aren't fast enough. I think Oren Burks playing out there is a better utilization of the linebacker position because you'll get better run support. Aside from that, I know everybody's not the biggest on Cam Taylor-Britt. I ran off a Cam Taylor-Britt stat. Cam Taylor-Britt only gave up 71 yards. After that, the most yard he gave up the whole entire season was week 4 with 41 yards. On average, Cam Taylor-Britt was giving up 23.5 yards a game. Why is that important? Cam Taylor-Britt is out for the whole entire season. Now, guys like Josh Newton, who I am not high on, are now put in that same position. I do not think that the Bengals have what it takes defensively to do anything with the Patriots. But I will say this. The Patriots were in a pretty close matchup with the Jets a couple of weeks ago in division. And the Jets blew it. Justin Fields had a chance to go cook. I think he had a turnover. I think if we had those same opportunities with Joe Burrow, we're putting points on the board. But I can't count on this defense to get a stop.
Yeah, I agree with you. The defense is going to have its work cut out for it. You talk about Will Campbell coming in at the left tackle position, Michael Winu. You talk about Moses at the right tackle position. You've got Hunter Henry. You've got some other guys out there, Boutte. You got Diggs. You got Matt Collins.
Boutte.
Isn't that? Oh, is it Boutte or how do you say his name?
I don't know. I'm trying to cook him. I don't know. He's gonna be booty. It's gonna be a lot of booty jokes on the timeline.
I remember one of him because I believe that kid went to LSU, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Keyshawn, he's a big target for sure.
Yeah, Drake May is the guy that you got to slow down, but it's hard for me to have faith in this defense, bro. I know that they played better last week. That's cool. I'm not saying that I don't have faith in them, but yeah, bro, it's it's tough. Like I think, defensively, they got to start getting turnovers again because when they don't get turnovers, it's hard for them to stop anybody. And I'm not saying that they played bad last week, but the time that we needed them to get a stop against Mason Rudolph, they weren't able to do it, bro. They weren't able to stop him. And so I think when you're looking at this hot offense that the Patriots have, I just don't know if we have enough to slow them down on that side of the ball. We'll see because Myles Murphy is coming off of his best game from last week. We need Myles Murphy to be more than that, though, because we need him to add to that, to the total number of sacks that he has on the season. Like 2.5 is not enough for him. We need to get him up to like that 8, 9, 10 threshold. If he can get there by the end of the season, I think if he can even get to 7 to 8, 7.5 to 8, that's commendable. But we need him to have more of an impact from that aspect. We saw him do it last week. We also need more from Osai if they're going to go into this game without a Trey Hendrickson. Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight, they're going to have to stop the running backs. And I really, like you said, I think you're right about Travion Henderson. I think he's a horrible matchup for the Bengals. I think he could really blow this game open, and that's something that you just don't want to see for them. And I think you're also right about Josh Newton. I have worries about him kind of being on the outside, even though he might only be on Mac Hollins. That's still an issue because we haven't seen enough from him. I think the two best corners have been DJ Turner and Dax Hill. Dax showed a lot last week.
Yeah.
Right. But outside of that, Jordan Battle, we're going to need some turnovers from him. Jordan Battle, like, obviously he's had the missed tackle issues. Outside of that, his PFF grade right now is a 63.3. It's really been Geno Stone,
that's not that
Barrett
bad.
Carter, Demetrius Knight. They've got to improve in those areas and be more consistent. But I am worried about them facing a kid in Drake May when I just watched Mason Rudolph look like Drake May against them in the second half. So we'll see what happens from that aspect. But, we are an offensive team. That's been the identity of this team. With Burrow back.
Burrow back? Burrow back. That's what I was going to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it? Let me ask you this, and I want to ask the chat this. Make sure you comment this after the show. If the Bengals, everybody talks about this is how I think a little bit. A lot of times people always talk about scenarios if something doesn't happen. Like, bro, we about to get smacked by the Patriots or whatever. And to me, reality is looking at both sides. I think it's a bigger chance that the Patriots smack them. But let's say if the Bengals were, because that is an actual reality that could happen. If the Bengals were to win this game, what do you think the rest of the season looks like? Does it change anything on like the overall, you know what I mean? Like, what is your thought process if the Bengals were to win this game and end up going 4-7?
Yeah, I think if the Bengals go 4-7, I think you're like, let's get Joe in there and let's see if they can make this run. I think you have room for error of losing one game. So I think you try to go out there and you try to go. So you said there would be 4. You try to go 5-1, bro. You try to go 5-1 and see if you can get into the playoffs.
In the last games, the last 3 games, Joe smacking him. If Burrow is not feeling it, like on his, like if he's just normal Joe Burrow, average Joe Burrow, smacking. I'm telling you, we're winning those last 3 games. But it all starts with, I hate the fact they put him in this spot, bro. But them last 3 games, though, I have no fear whatsoever on the last 3. Whereas when you look at the Ravens' last 3, it's Patriots, Packers, Steelers. It's a lot, bro. Steelers about to go through a gauntlet too. I think the winner of the division, I think 10-7 will be almost like a miracle in our division. I really think 9-8 is really it. I really think 9-8 is the winner.
The defense, like, I agree with people. That's why I'm giving them the room of error for one game, because the defense, I don't know. he just gonna have to he just gonna have to overcome it, bro. That's all that it is. That's what they're gonna have to try to do.
Right.
How many games did they win in a row last year
Who, Bengals?
with the bad defense? Yeah,
At the end?
at the end.
I mean, they went on a 5-game win streak.
It was like five. It was 5 in a row, right? Yeah, I thought it was 5 in a
straight.
row. Yeah,
5
everybody.
straight.
So
Burrow is 7-1 in his last 8 games.
Just remember that with the bad defense last year, which I think is actually worse now, unfortunately, he went 5-0 at the end. So all I'm asking for him to go is 5-1. I'm asking for him to go 5-1. If he went 10-7, that is crazy.
All right.
That is crazy.
I don't think for Burrow, it's not the craziest thing in the world to me, considering how bad the defense is. But it's really about the matchups and the teams. Like the Bills won, I think our defense will get slaughtered. But then I also watched the Bills not really do anything 2 weeks ago, and they wanted to fire Joe Brady as well too. If they can't match Burrow putting 30 on them,
our defense, bro. I just seen everybody scoring this defense.
Everybody cooks.
We giving up 33 points per game.
But can I say this though? I think Bengals fans were very, very humble in this regard. There's no other team in the NFL that would go the whole season not using the Burrow excuse. Since Burrow's been injured, we don't come on here and say, "Oh well, we only lost because we ain't had Burrow." Like we're not. Even when it was Brown, it was like, bro, like the offense isn't the defense. You know what I'm saying? It was everything, and I think that we're fair in that regard. The one thing that I think that a lot of people are very disingenuous about around like all the other teams that we won't get credit for is when their quarterbacks aren't there, they use that as an excuse. And when their quarterback isn't there, it's a domino effect that also affects the defense. And to act like that isn't an important part of everything, not only is it the leadership of Joe Burrow, and it's also a time conversation too. And it's about like Burrow knowing how to manipulate time in some of those playoff matchups that he was in. It's him taking over drives when he know he has to, and then deferring to the defense sometimes when he actually had a defense. But it's all of these elements, and to me, the management of it too is part of the reason why Lamar Jackson hasn't won in the playoffs, because from a management standpoint, you can't turn the ball over in certain scenarios. And I think anybody that's acting like Burrow not being there doesn't have an effect on the defense is also somewhat disingenuous to me, because I think the two kind of go hand in hand. We all preach complimentary football. I think that also has like an impact. The players, when the season first started, they all came up to him and was like, "Man, we got your back, now." Like there's a sense of they didn't want to lose and all these other different things with him out there. And I think that's really important, bro. When the Ravens beat the Bears the other week, they were cool with it, but they walked away from the game saying like, "We can't do it without Lamar." You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those things, like it's your superpower. To act like Burrow doesn't have a superpower, I think people forgot. I think that's also part of the conversation. Is it enough to get them over the historically worst defense? Probably not. But to act like it has no impact, I think it's kind of crazy.
Right. So offensively, what are we doing against the Patriots?
Whew. Is P. Ryan playing? This will be a good P. Ryan game. Yeah, I don't know, man. I will go Gesicki and Fant. I would feature them. And T. Higgins, I would go to him on every third down. And then I would figure out ways to, after I throw on first down, efficient offense, 12 personnel, I would then come back and lead efficient drives, long drives that take up time, because I don't want my defense out on the field. I want this game to be nasty at 20-something to 17, 20-something. I don't want it in the 30s. I don't want to get his other team more than eight possessions. So if you're watching this game on Sunday and you're counting possessions, if the Patriots get to beyond 8 possessions, we're going to lose. They have to slow the game down, but do it efficiently, whether it's Burrow or Flacco.
Yeah, I'm looking them having Mitchell Tinsley out here starting is a little nasty. Um,
I like Tinsley in this matchup though. As
yeah,
much as I want
yeah.
Burton to be active, I think Tinsley gives you that jump ball ability on those big possessions, and you know you're gonna get it from him. As much as I'm a Burton enthusiast, you kind of don't know. I would use Burton to take the top off the defense and 11 personnel 3 wide. I would definitely use Burton in that regard.
To me, Burton has to play in this game, man. I mean, you're
You
3
might be disappointed.
3-7 right now. Like, I get it. More than likely, he's probably not gonna play. But to me, that's more of an indictment on Zach Taylor and his Bengals coaching staff that with your backs up against the wall with no option at all, your option is to keep him on the bench, and it's a weapon that can help you win a football game. No, Jermaine Burton needs to play. If Jamar Chase is not in this game, Jermaine Burton needs to play in this game. He has to get a deep shot in this game. I don't care. There's no excuse, bro. There's no excuse. You're going to throw Mitchell Tinsley in, but you're not going to put – okay, so what if they double team T. Higgins? You're not putting Jermaine Burton in?
They're going to go to Gesicki. They're going to go to Gesicki.
The opposing team knows Jermaine Burton way more than they know Mitchell Tinsley. Shout out to Mitchell Tinsley. I appreciate what you've done. Mm-hmm. They are not going to say we're not double teaming T. Higgins for Tinsley. They are not going to say we're not double teaming T. Higgins for Andre Yosivas. The only person that can take the top off of the defense and instill any kind of fear in them is Jermaine Burton. And I know that we've talked about it. I know people are tired of hearing about it, but I'm just like, if not now, then when? If you're not gonna play him this weekend, just cut him, bro. There's no point.
Just cut him. Just cut him. Let it go.
We need this. We need somebody to take the top off of the defense. Hopefully, Mike Gesicki can play. If Mike Gesicki can play, we're gonna. But you're talking about taking the best receiver in the league off of the team. You have to do something to replace that. The Kansas City Chiefs, when it came to Sidney Rice, right? Who was that dude that they have that just all his role is taking the top off of the defense, and he became somewhat of a
when they had Hardman. When they had Hardman.
No, not Hardman. It was this season. Somebody in the chat, I know you know who I'm talking about. He played for the Chiefs earlier this season, and then when Rice came back, they took him out. They were just throwing deep to this dude.
They got Hollywood Brown out there running it, and they got your other
Hollywood Brown. Let me see. I'm gonna find it. He's not a big name.
But
all he is a fast receiver that was able, like, all they did was Tyquan Thornton. All they did was just look downfield and just throw it to him. And he made plays. Like, that is what Jermaine Burton can do. And I get it. I know people are tired. I'm tired of talking about Jermaine Burton. Bro, you cannot not play him in a game where you don't have Jamar.
I'm going to tell you what they're going to say. And I don't agree with it. But it reminds me of this conversation reminds me of Shedeur Sanders. It really does, bro. And both parties that are involved at some point have to say, okay, if you believe that Burton they're still running, like in my comment section, they're still running with he doesn't know the playbook, he doesn't know all this stuff, right? Cool. Bro is out there he ran full and he has a jersey and he's on your roster, right? If you're saying that you think that you're right and Burton is ass, let me see, right? That's what happened with Shedeur eventually, right? Is going on right now. It's like so many people, it's such a polarizing conversation. On one end, you got all the people like myself and you included that recognize that what he did in that preseason was not no fluke. What he did to Darius Slay last year in the Eagles game was not no fluke. What he did in the Chargers game when he first came out there and ran that deep out was not no fluke. And what he did in the Chiefs game week 2 was not no fluke. You've actually seen Burton do it, but for whatever reason, they're like, oh, I don't like him going to the casino, whatever, da-da-da-da. The same conversation that we were having last week about choir boys versus bow tie guy, right? There's a large portion of people that watch football that only want to see players that play that are a reflection of what they think football represents. My reflection of football doesn't have anything to do with anything off the field or anything like that. And I think it's the single number one, the biggest flaw currently right now in Cincinnati football is that all the choir boys, all the people that y'all saying do know the playbook, all the people that made all them drop passes and all the people that said that they do the right thing and do all that stuff, they're not impacting the games and actually helping us win. The argument against it is like, oh, well, Burton was sleeping in meetings. He's not there, but he's there now. And how good he is and his talent level is higher than all the guys that you're saying are doing it the right way. The teams that we play, like Chauncey Gardner and the guy Kyle Duggar, for 2 consecutive weeks. Those are 2 guys. Duggar was problematic on the Patriots, buried on the depth charts, didn't get along with the coaches. He comes back to the Bengals game, gets a pick 6. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson goes to the Bears 2 weeks ago. Everybody says he's a locker room cancer. Remember, locker room cancer is a guy that speaks up. Because remember, the locker room already is a cancer because the defense sucks. You had the captain, Logan Wilson, requesting a trade. So that conversation is stupid. But what happens is people get so caught up in what they want from the person that they forget that what's more important is winning. And if you think that Burton is not the guy and he's not going to do things that you want him to do and he's not going to be on time, how about you put him in and let's see? That's the only way we're going to be able to do it. We could talk about what you think that he missed. We could talk about what you don't know about Burton. You could talk about how bad of a person you think he is. You could say that he has mental illnesses that you don't know. But the only way for both parties to solve this is put him out there and go see. And then you could come back with your bragging rights, which I don't care about. I only want the Bengals to win. But the guy that says, see, I told you so, the only way you're going to get what you want is to play Burton. So we all should be all in play Burton. So then we could figure this out. And the most important thing is a 3rd round pick being a scratch, not playing, is detrimental to your team. Major. That is not a low level pick. A 3rd round pick, that's a big deal, bro.
And that should put the eyes on the front office and the scouts. I mean, the thing about Jermaine Burton is he had immaturity issues coming in. You already knew that. Like, that's not new. But right now we're at 3-7, man. Like, if Jermaine Burton not playing, like, and they did the same thing with McKinley Jackson. I don't think McKinley Jackson has character issues. That hasn't been said or anything like that. He finally started the last game. They got to do whatever it takes to win games at this point. And this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say this on this show. I think I don't know if I've said it before. Doing that cost us a Super Bowl because when Jackson Carman played and Hakeem Adeniji were playing in the playoffs, there was a game in the Chiefs game where they did this thing where they played both of them, right? And it was very successful. The Chiefs weren't able to get to him. Hakeem Adeniji at the time was playing horribly. They got to the Super Bowl, and then Zach Taylor pulled that BS again, and it cost us a Super Bowl because Hakeem Adeniji gave up 3 sacks in the Super Bowl that he wouldn't play Jackson Carman in. And I know that sounds crazy because we know Jackson Carman is not in the league anymore, but he was better than Hakeem Adeniji. But because there was the immaturity things, they decided to bench him, and now you got somebody getting 3 sacks in the Super Bowl that you gave up, but he's a model citizen. What the hell does that mean to me after I won the Super Bowl? He didn't stop Aaron Donald. He didn't stop anybody from getting to the quarterback, but because he was a model citizen and he did everything the right way, it was okay. I'm not with that, bro. Play the best players. If it's not tearing your locker room, and everybody's talking about he's a locker room cancer. The locker room is in shambles already. You had dudes laughing and not wanting to be interviewed. What do you think the locker room looks like when it's 3-7? It's a locker room that's 3-7 right now. I don't think it could get worse than what it is right now. So, like, for me, I'm tired of this. I'm going to teach these guys a lesson to the detriment of us losing games. Like, this is the NFL. There's certain people that can get away with certain things. AB was a fucking psycho, and he got to play every week because he was good at football, not because he was a model citizen, not because he was a leader, not because he had a talent that somebody else didn't have that allowed him to stay in Pittsburgh for years until they decided to trade him. And the same thing could be said about T.O. I'm not saying T.O. is crazy, but they had to put up with a lot with T.O., and teams are willing to put up with a lot and deal with the T.O. diva stuff because he's that good. When players are that good, you're willing to put up with a whole lot more than you normally would with somebody that isn't that good. And when you start to Now, when they start to lose it and they're not that good, yeah, you can move on and do all of the stuff that you want to do. But right now, that person's good. That person's giving you a chance to win. And if you don't play that person, this whole back and forth and doing all of this, and you did it also with Carlos Dunlap. Carlos Dunlap didn't fall in line. You made him 3rd and 4th on the depth chart. Guess what? Carlos Dunlap left, won a ring. What do you got for Carlos Dunlap? You got a dude that looks like he eats his boogers, and it was a bum and was off your team in a year. That's what you got. That's what you got. So, dog, I am tired of this. I'm so
tired of that nice guy stuff.
I don't care about the nice guy stuff. Get these guys that are talented to play. If Burton wants to do all of that and he sucks, you cut him. You move on. What's the point of keeping him on the roster? What's the point of keeping him on the roster,
bro? That's the part I was going to say. He has no value. He has no value, right? So you can't trade him. So why not, just like we did with the young linebackers, put him out there. Just put him out there.
Just put him out there, man.
If he isn't anything and he's complete trash after 2-3 games, I don't even think the leash need to be that long for considering all the BS is going on. It could be a short leash, bro. 2-3 games of him just running routes. I don't even care. Just take the top off. I want to say, Burton, go out there, run every route like it's the last route you ever ran. And if he don't answer the bell, let him go, and we can move on to the next conversation. But dogs is how we got to the team that we were at. I believe that Burton's a dog. It takes a special person, I think, to control that type of dog because he's like the new age YN version of a dog. You know what I'm saying? It's like you need the correct person to talk to a Burton like that because I understand young people. I don't think that these people don't understand that that conversation is different than the conversation that you would say
he's not going to be a Boy Scout,
to Miles Murphy or Sam Hubbard or something like that.
He's not going to be a boy expecting Jermaine Burton to be a Boy Scout is not going to happen. You knew that. He was at Alabama. He was at Alabama, bro. He was at Georgia. Do you think that these people didn't know this? These are the top of the line programs. It was because he was a dog that they put up with it. It's because he was a dog. And it wasn't a situation like I've seen some people go from Janoris Jenkins. I've seen him go all the way from UF to a team we never heard of. This dude went from Georgia to Alabama. Like they were still willing to put up with it because of the talent. When you're catching and having 40 yards a catch with Nick Saban and all of that, some people are willing to do it. I'm not saying that you just, but like, bro, do you care? Like the culture right now, what is the culture at 3-7? What is the culture at 3-7?
There is no culture.
There is no culture.
Like that's
why out there and play them, man.
People got to get on their high horse at this juncture right now. There is no culture in this locker room. Last week was an abomination of this thing called defense. The defense is so bad when I'm watching Darnell Washington just push them off like they look like kids. Bro. Like they look like kids. That was, to me, I don't believe that the football team that I cheer for is a reflection of me per se, but watching that, I can't come out here and tell people that we're for real, and I'm watching that. Like those guys look so bad that it's impossible for me to tell anybody anything about what I think positively about the Bengals, because when you watch a product look like that, it looks so bad. If you're not interested in turning every leaf to try to see, or turning every stone to see what you got all around the board, then I can't take you serious. I can't take you serious. I can't take you serious about winning. Like if you're not interested in turning every single stone and your pride on who you think or your perception of who you think is better or what you think they did at practice or what you think they did in meetings, if you think that that's higher than us looking like bums getting thrown across the field at 3-7 or not get open or drop passes or with no Jamar Chase at 3-7, if you think that outweighs winning, then I can't really. That's all.
And think about it, bro. Like Mike Tomlin is the perfect example. Think about all of the stuff that he's had to deal with. He's had to deal with Juju TikToks. He's had to deal with Le'Veon Bell. He's had to deal with AB. He's had to deal with James Harrison. He's had to deal with all of these personalities that are like crazy, that some people would be like, I don't want to deal with that. He's dealt with them because it wins games. you're going to have to deal with these personalities. You're dealing with Jamar Chase right now, and Zach isn't saying anything bad about Jamar Chase in the incident now because he's a dog, because he's literally the best receiver in the league. That's why you're not saying anything about them. So, like, for me, like, bro, you even look at, like, the Ravens, all of these teams, they're willing to deal with certain stuff because these guys are dogs and they win football games. And they're the difference between wins and losses. If you have a Jermaine Burton in that game and he goes out and he catches a 40-yard deep bomb, maybe that starts your offense back up. Like, these guys are difference makers.
Yeah.
So
I think it changes. I think it changes how the defense is, like, just talking schematically how you would do it. Like I said, I would come out there in 12 personnel with Gesicki and Fant. Of course, T. Higgins would be featured. I'll be going to him a lot on third downs. I will definitely be more interested in my run game. But there's only after the first half, the adjustments, they're going to be like, okay, they're throwing everything underneath. You know what they would need is something schematically to go over top. And I think that's where the conversation with Burton. The reason why Tinsley is on our team is because when he was with the Commanders, he doesn't separate. As much as he's a high point guy, if I get him in a red zone situation, throw it up to Tinsley.
And we're not saying don't play Mitchell Tinsley. We're not saying that at all.
I think that me seeing Tinsley, I think that there's a high chance that you might still get Jermaine Burton as a scratch. I'm just telling you, like, what I think. I'm telling you, bro, they're weird about it. They're so weird about it. But what you know what they'll do is they'll go with Tinsley, they'll go heavy tight end. And then they rather even Charlie Jones in that same
spot. They're gonna pull up.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, they do not care. That's another red flag and another indictment on this coaching staff because there's literally no coach in the NFL. It's just random people on Twitter that would say don't play Burton at this point. All people that have nothing to do with the Bengals that watch college football. I was at a barbershop 4 weeks ago. Dude said, y'all are so stupid for not playing Jermaine Burton. He was like, bro, he was like, I'm a Bulldogs fan. That dude is special. And mind you, he doesn't know any of the stuff that's going on, but it just shows you, like, talent. People do not care about this stuff. AJ Brown, he literally was on the thing a week ago. They won the game, winning team. Eagles just coming off a Super Bowl. This dude came on the stream and said, man, the whole locker room is a shit show. Everything, talking down on the team. You think that's going to stop them from playing AJ Brown? Like, all of this concept.
He literally said, if you have me in fantasy, get rid of me. Get rid of me.
And so that's what I'm saying about, like, even AJ Brown is like, everything isn't going to be perfect. Maybe they'll mend it. Maybe the relationships. We're human. Some things will work. Some things won't. Sometimes, like, when you're communicating with people, maybe AJ Brown had a crash out moment. But the takeaway for me is that this quest for perfection or like a perfect locker room, it doesn't exist even with a Super Bowl champion.
For sure. My bad, y'all. I know, like, I'm just really getting frustrated.
I didn't think we was gonna bring that up. I didn't think we was gonna talk about that. I'm glad you did.
But yeah, let's blow off some steam and let Midwest Best Barbecue run their promo real quick.
Now they call T. Higgins, or you say number 5s. Either way, you'll be winning. It's them hot honey lemon peppers. Now they call T. Higgins, or you say number 5s. Either way, you'll be winning. It's them hot honey lemon peppers. Now they call T. Higgins, or you say number 5s. Either way, you'll be winning. And much love to Mama T, Uno and CTB. MB's got Bengals wings, and now we just added T's. 9 to 5 winning things. Gritty for Uno wings. We say yes, Sirski now. Like X's and be saying that T got them new wings. Only at MB's. Hot honey lemon peppers. Now you can call them T's. Hot honey lemon peppers. Now they call T. Higgins. Or you say number 5s. Either way, you'll be winning. It's them hot honey lemon peppers. Now they call T. Higgins. Or you say number 5.
That was nice. I ain't gonna lie.
Shout out to Midwest Best Barbecue, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Make sure you stop in there and let them know Ace and Zim sent you. They got all kind of specials going off right now. It's getting cold outside. Sometimes they do the brisket soup that's seasonal. So make sure you stop in there and get you something to eat for the holidays. They also do the holiday meals as well. definitely keep Midwest Best Barbecue in mind because they're going to have everything from wings to the barbecue to everything that you like. They've got it there. So definitely make sure to check them out and go get some of them teas over there at Midwest Best Barbecue. Was there anything that you wanted to say before we get out of here, partner?
No, I'm really, really going to be interested in to watch this game, man, because I think if they were able to pull this off, I just want to see, like, what's the temperature of the fan base like after that, because I think then you'll have a crazy matchup that you're looking at going into the Ravens game.
Yeah,
I said
that would be a really big. I mean, at this point, we don't have anything. I'm like, I honestly was nearly checked out, bro. Burrow is the only thing.
I'm kind of checked out.
Back in.
I'm kind of checked out, but that's what I was saying on the last show is like, bro, watching these Steelers people talk all crazy about us, watching all these, like, the pride in me. And
you would
just
think that they swept us. This is crazy. Like, can we talk about that? Like, they're talking like it was a sweep. Like, what?
I don't even want to talk about it. But just the whole pride in me of, I hate the front office. I don't like Zach Taylor. I don't like, but at the end of the day, bro, I'm always like, all right, bro, let's ride out. Like, it's just in me. I can't leave. Like, the people that just like, man, F this team, forget everything about it. Oh, Burrow not playing, I'm not watching it. Like, I just don't subscribe to that. I'm not knocking you for doing it. I'm just like one of them people, like, bro, like, I came in the party with these dudes. We leaving the party with these dudes. And that's just how I rock for, like, to the end until they put me in the casket, bro. And seeing Burrow out there to be like, man, F this team, front office and crying about the team all day. I got it. I get it. But Burrow putting his whole career on the line if he comes out there. And for me to turn my back on that, I just think would be crazy. That's my belief. That's not me telling anybody else how to think. That's just how I am. I can't turn my back on 9, and I damn sure can't turn my back on the people that's still out there still trying to play and win some games. Like, I don't know.
Sersky, I couldn't ended it any perfectly than that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Cincinnati podcast.
Coming up on the Cincinnati podcast.
Hello, world.
Cincinnati. You guys are the Yoshi creators, bro.
It's a new beginning. You know what that means, right?
But I know this, the whole NFL is scared of the Bengals.